Welcome everyone to part 2 of the Snap Packs Q&A live. We are here live streaming the event here on the release of Snap Packs Day. I can only imagine what kind of day it's been for you, but let's hear more about it first and foremost. For those who may have not seen the very first premiere video, which is now available also in-game, which will take you directly to the YouTube video for the first interview, why don't you let people know, well, who you are and what you do.
Thanks, guest. Nice to be back here again. And I apologize if my voice is a little shoddy today. I'm between allergies and a cold. It's kind of hanging on for dear life. I'm Matt. I'm the senior director of product here at Snap. So my job is to work with design and data, content, all the teams together to, build out new features. But product specifically that spent a lot of time on live. We call it live ops. So anything that's like events, shop content, anything that's login rewards, all the stuff that kind of happens that keeps the game fresh, that isn't a new feature. We do a lot of that with also in collaboration with a lot of other folks as well too. But I was the lead on the Snap Packs feature, so hopefully I can answer your questions.
I mean, you did a great job. You did a great job in the first interview. Nina, Banks, myself, Lauren, going through as many details as we could with the information, that we could essentially get at that time also was, incredibly revealing. And then even still, y'all came through with incredible surprises to be like, here, let's just add even more goodness. It's not just, oh, here's Snap Packs and now you have your access and converting and tokens and stuff. You took it a step further, and one, you're providing a free Series 5 Snap Pack to every player in Marvel Snap to celebrate this launch. That was beyond gracious and a hell of a way to, kick off this for the entire community where people can even further catch up on those mechanics. But then you also added 3 more cards. I almost said 4. 3 more cards, 4 in total today, into the Series 4 packs. Like, I knew you wanted to start off with a bang, but help me understand those decisions of why so much, as weird as that sounds. Like, I'm pleasantly surprised. Like, tell us about how you wanted to really kick it off this way with us.
Well, I'm glad you're surprised. We kind of debated whether to give out, we wanted to give out something so people could experience the feature right away. And we could give out tokens, but a lot of people are going to have, tokens converting over from keys or maybe tokens in their balance already. And really, like, the feature is the packs. So we wanted to give people the chance to actually open a pack. And then I was like, well, if we're going to give out a pack, we don't want to give out like a Series 3 or 4 pack. We want to give people a pack that whatever they get out of it is hopefully really exciting. Never hurts, hopefully this feature will be around for a long time. So first impressions are important. And then on the cards, yeah, I mean, fortunately, we had some cards that came out relatively recently that we could put on offer. So one of it was just having the cards on hand. But then the other part was, we're still ramping up, as we said in the last interview, to a place where we're offering more new S4 cards every season. So we wanted to make sure that the seasonal Series 4 pack wasn't like too flimsy when we launched the feature, so that there's some fun stuff to get there. And I love move decks, so I'm excited to get Baltrog and those other cards.
Yeah, I mean, first off, the fact that all of them are move related is exciting, because move is an archetype that, at least to me, the way that it seems is you kind of dive into a little bit of move when you're first starting the game. It's like late Series 1, early Series 2, and then it just gets incredibly convoluted. And the different mechanics that can then come into play later on, you're like, you know what? This might be just a little too difficult. It might not be the direction of type of deck I want to play. And now you all just kind of leaned full force into it by giving us 4 move cards that, like, I know some incredible move players that are just foaming right now at the mouth going, this is going to be a whole new meta, because this is so unpredictable, and you're also bringing in activate. So I'm thrilled to see the type of release, because it's honing in on an archetype that should be unique and strong and present, but it's only really been present in small little packages. Like we see move bounce is very prominent in the game, even in the current meta.
Right.
So I'm very happy to see these types of cards are making it into the game. And I know we talked about it in the first video. The Series 4 cards are supposed to be that kind of a niche aspect of being built into, okay, this is specifically meant for move more often than not, even though there are some other mechanics we can definitely work with here. But I do got to ask, because before we go down the whole snap packs conversation, I have to ask one glaring question, because it was legitimately, I went through all of the different social medias, all of the comments from every post on the last video. I have to ask this on behalf of the community, and I hope you understand why.
People need to know.
People need to know. Where were you in that last video? That was such a barren, like, it was like one chair in this long hole of a room. What room was that? And why haven't second dinner furnished wherever you are? Like, what is going on?
Yes, it's not that second dinner has locked me in a room until Snap Packs was done.
Okay, good.
It was like, I had an office space that I was in the process of moving out of, and I'm now in a room in my house that probably has a little more furnishing, and also I just kind of lucked out in having a big space that had more room that I could fill out. So, but I did need to
sequester
thanks
you.
for putting me on blast. I need to go, kind of deck out my background with some more fun stuff, especially Snap stuff.
Get some decor,
black.
Some sound foam, that's fine. It'll work. It'll be fine. I had legitimately, that was the number one question from the past comments. So I was like, I got to get that out of the way before we dive into the world of Series 5s, because first and foremost, I've kind of broken it up into like sections more often than not. And some of them are directly about certain packs, and I'll talk about those. But one of the other big topics that also is kind of directly, indirectly sort of related is just about, the variant shop and the acquisition itself, because obviously everything changes now. The keys are officially gone, basically. And people are already calling for new things in the shop right off the bat. So when it comes to options about, future patches and future things that you'd like to do with the shop, because I remember there was potential that maybe, spotlights will end up in the shop in some capacity in the future, or rotating the different variants on through. Now that Snap Packs is launching, how do you see the evolution of the shop now coming to light, since this system is now going to be in place like this?
Yeah, that's a big question that has a lot of different kind of arms to it. I think just on the card side, there are more things that we plan to do. I think we have already stuff planned for the next 3 releases that are related to the card shop and Snap Packs.
Okay.
More like, whenever you launch a bigger feature, there's stuff that kind of gets left on the cutting room floor. We've got bugs to fix. We've got, things as small as like a welcome pop-up for brand new players the first time they come to the card shop, where we give you, we already give you tokens when we start the game. We're actually going to give you a little bit more tokens to get you started. So smaller things like that. And then we have, an example of a bigger thing that we mentioned on the last interview is I think we're now calling it the themed module. So there could be an extra module in the card shop that has any combination of cards, packs, or variants, so that in a future season, let's say it's X-Men or whatever, we could have, here's cards that are not the new cards, but maybe they are mechanically complementary or thematically, there are other cards that are X-Men, and we put them in a pack, and we could, the idea is to try different things. Like maybe we'll have some older cards that we want to make pretty cheap because we want people to get them. Or maybe it's cards that, hey, these are hard to get cards, but we're, instead of putting them in a big pack with 100 cards, there's 10 cards here. So it might be a little bit more of a premium type pack. Maybe we want to pair that with a variant that you can only get in the card shop that goes with that pack. So you're right that like just having this, it's essentially a whole new store that opens up a lot of opportunities for the kinds of stuff we might present in the future.
It's cool to think that there's even this ability to create different, like you said, modules that you can work with to say, okay, yes, we have our Series 4 pack, we have our Series 5 pack, but for, you know, hypothetically, for a limited time, we could have a separate module that has, you know, these couple of X-Men cards from Series 5 and these couple of X-Men from Series 4, and then build.
Right, they could be across series.
Right, it's like a smaller pool with a separate, you know, token count for redemption because it's in feature or in line with the type of theming. That's really cool to hear that we could see those cards come out in different ways because of those packs too. So it's not just once it's in the collector's pack, you know, that's its home forever. There's a chance that thematically it could fit into, or mechanically, like you said, fit into another potential pack. I know all of us as creators are also hoping for those creator packs someday. So we're looking forward to seeing how that could even potentially work. So that's really cool.
Yeah, I'd love to know what's in the guest pack. Yeah.
I would too. Just let me know when, and we'll make something happen. I'll start thinking about it. In conjunction,
and we already kind of dipped our toes in the water with Sanctum Showdown doing the portal pulls. So that's a very analogous idea, right? Is like, oh, here are 3 cards that you can get. They weren't necessarily, they were thematically related to Sanctum Showdown, but not mechanically related. So something like that could live in an event or in the shop or both, you know, in the future.
With that, could that also be one of the ways that we see returning variants, whether it be Spotlight, whether it be Bundle, because we had the Collector's Vault obviously come on out. Could you see that as a possibility of a way that players could use that type of mechanic in the future? Like, how do you feel about that type of, it's almost like targeting in a way. It's a type of targeting. How do you feel about targeting specific variants just in general, yet alone through that type of mechanic?
Yeah, that's another good question that has lots of, you know, the world of variants has
it's Doctor Strange arms everywhere.
The daily offer shop, we have bundles, we have premium mystery variants. You know, we just added the premium mystery borders. I think that we may want to have more variants in the token shop. I think so the main argument for that, right, is that there are people who are going to have most or all the cards they want and are sitting on tokens and say, well, what do I do with these tokens now? We didn't really solve that problem with the first launch of Snap Packs here. So that's something I think we need to think about and do something about in the future. But then the other way to look at it is, now that the card shop exists, there's the other half of the shop is like mostly cosmetics. There's gold IAPs and some other things in there, and then the card shop is cards. So I think to some degree we want to keep those two things relatively focused. So if you want variants, you go to the offer shop, and there's various different kinds of variants on order there. So I think it's more likely that the things we do with variants are going to be in the offer shop. But we've got, you know, improvements to the For You bundles that we're planning on working on. We have improvements to Collector's Vault.
Ooh, that's cool.
I would love to. I think premium, you know, this gets in a little more of the, I don't want to promise things that are not totally on the roadmap, but
of course,
I think we all feel like premium mystery variants are cool, but the more variants you own, the more hit or miss they are, and having some kind of different flavors in the same way that Snap Packs can offer many flavors, having more flavors of something you can open that has mystery variants in it would be neat.
Okay. I mean, as someone who, like, the way I run my collection right now is with upgrades. At least I have certain cards that I want to upgrade, right? I'm trying to go for mastery on certain cards, and I'm like, the fact that the Magic variant is coming out in the weekly login rewards right now. That one I have it level 26. So I'm like, yes, that's another 125 right there. That's 2 more levels. All right. So the way I kind of go through my own collection, I know a lot of players go through, which is they target one specific thing and they want one specific thing, whether it's a theme, an archetype, a specific, you know, card / character, whatever it may be. So I'm excited to see how the future allows us to mold these new options for the shop more than anything else, because it's not about it's not even about dollars spent. It's about accessibility, I think, for most people. It's about knowing that there's this thing that I want. How can I get it? And I understand, obviously, there's the business side we have to figure out to understand and respect simultaneously of how much is appropriate for us to understand on I can get this the way that I want to in the timeline that I want to. There's always that juggling, like you said, it's kind of like the Doctor Strange images of icon arms. It's just so many things to balance all at once. But I'm glad that you guys are looking at things like the Collector's Vault, even, which I did not know about, that it could present different opportunities to improve our acquisition of different cards and different variants. So
yeah, some of the logic in the Collector's Vault about how it chooses what variants to show you is not as sophisticated as what the daily offer shop shows you. So we'd like to kind of bring it more up to par. And then you're right around the point that if you've got a card targeted to level up in terms of character mastery, you're kind of at the whims of the system as to whether you're going to get a variant for that card. And of course, you see one and you may go jump on it, but having more control over, variants are the biggest input for character mastery level right now. So having more control over variants you get, or even more control over character mastery leveling, are things that we've been talking about. We want to do more work on snap packs first, and then we have some improvements to character mastery that are currently, could change, but currently are kind of on deck after that.
Gotcha. Okay, so into the world of snap packs. A very common question that I saw, starting kind of in the lower end for newer players, or players that are just developing their collection right now, and they're going through Series 3 packs. Have Second Dinner as a team, or yourself, considered specifically Series 3 in being able to pin cards? So for example, there's the free one, obviously, that you get once a month, but we also have the rotating one for Series 5 and Series 4. Has it been considered at a premium, whatever the amount would be, for a targeting card in that aspect of a rotating shop, to have a pinnable Series 3 card also for newer players?
I think it's a really cool idea, actually. It wasn't something considered at launch, but I think it's something that we could take a good look at. To be honest, part of me was like, well, there's 3 cards in the pinned module, and there's like 3 things in all the other modules, and adding a 4th thing just makes it kind of lopsided. But
I get that.
That isn't a good reason to not do it.
Right.
And the Series 3 card pool is the biggest pool that we have, so it's it can be the hardest to kind of pull the thing out of it that you want. So I really like that idea.
Yeah, that's because the thought on a lot of
who I can talk to about that.
You know a guy, just you can nudge along the way. You know a guy. All right, good. Yeah, because it was a common comment, which is really difficult to say, amongst a couple of different platforms, where newer players would like to build, for example, they're building a destroy deck and they really want to get null to really round it out. Okay. Oh, look, it's finally there, and I can get it for however many tokens, 900, 1,000, 800, whatever it is. Boom, pin it until you have your tokens, and then boom, you can actually complete the destroy deck that you're looking to build, or Cerebral, because there's very specific cards in Series 3 that also open up major archetypes. So that's good to hear. And even in that journey, I know I'm not Lauren Whatevs, who is the math aficionado of Marvel Snap in that aspect, but I was doing the napkin math version of it between the fixes that we saw back in January with the Series 3 doubling along the collection track, that instead of within every 10 caches you used to get 2, now you get 4, and now we're getting Spotlight Keys replaced by 3,000 tokens. I'm looking at this as this is 4 times faster right now, because it used to be as high as collection level 8,000 way back in the day to get Series 3 complete. Now, if you quote unquote sped run it all the way through super fast, you could do it as fast as almost collection level 2,000. Does that seem, am I kind of on par of like where you wanted to go with that, or how that math could even potentially be right, or am I just 100% off the ball?
No, I think that's roughly correct. So the hate the word double clicking. That's the thing that came on my head. That's such a tech company thing, but I'll double click on that, guest.
Yeah.
So yes, you can definitely get S3 cards 2x faster, just from the collector's reserves. And then it kind of depends on how you think about it. But if you were to spend all of your 3,000 tokens you get every, for out of every what used to be a key on the Series 3 cards, you can get 4+ Series 3 cards for every, Series 4/Series 5 that you could get. So if you take the 2x and the 4x and put them together, it's like 8x or, even more than that. But it's not like you're just getting 8x for free. You are trading off the ability to get those higher series cards. So it's really ultimately more a choice with the tokens. And if you just want to plow through that Series 3 pool, which I think, that's what I did as a newer player. I think our cards are kind of funny in that I think there are many Series 3 cards that are as good or better than some Series 4 and Series 5 cards. So it's it's kind of a good thing to do.
I mean, there's Series 1 even
to power exactly. Yeah.
100%. Like I always reference, like, some of my favorite cards of the game are Iron Man, which you get right off the rip as soon as you get the game, and Sarah, which is still one of the most underappreciated Series 3 cards. But man, when you get that thing down, it's insane. Absolutely insane. So then with that, because if you are unlocking cards in the snap packs and you are unlocking them also on the collection track, there's also every now and then there's like bundles that'll pop on up, or different promotions, or it'll be like there's a weekly login reward right now. Some players might be getting Magic for the very first time that way. It led to some indiscrepancy from past systems versus now, and I want to either confirm or debunk a rumor, and I need to like literally read this one that I have on my notes so I don't mess this up, so that way I can get this right. So previously, it was either known or assumed that if you unlocked a Series 3 card in any other method other than your collection track, so if you got a bundle, the free Series 3 card, whatever it is, that as you go up the collection track, where that card would have been, you would technically still have to unlock it, but it would be replaced with a something else, some boosters or an avatar or whatever, something else of that nature. So it wouldn't actually diminish the collection level that your maximum collection level that you would need to be Series 3 complete. If you obtain a Series 3 card in any other way throughout the game, are you actually accelerating your progression, or do you still have to unlock the card on the collection track?
No, that's false. I can double, triple check, but I did kind of double check on that already.
Okay.
Unless I'm missing a thing where you're getting a different currency instead. But anyway, I'm not 99.9% sure that if you get a base Series 3 card from anywhere in the game, the collector's reserves won't give you a dupe, right? There's no like dupe spot that's being held there. Right. Maybe the confusion is coming around the fact that if you get a Series 3 card as a variant anywhere in the game, you can still get the base card out of the collector's reserve. So that's something that's one of the follow-on things we're doing, or that's kind of related to snap packs in the card shop. So the next release that comes out on June 3rd will have a feature where anytime you acquire a card that you don't own, so even if it's through some, whatever special variant that might be on sale, you will be given the base card as well. Right. And I know it's kind of hopefully make people happy. That's a long requested thing. And just kind of, like you said, it cleans up some of the complexities of these systems where, and actually another key point of that is that will be retroactive. So anybody who is sitting on cards where they own a variant but not the base card, they will be retroactively rewarded those base cards.
Yeah, that was one that we were specifically hearing also going live right now, because there was a little confusion in regards to it. So I'll use that as like a Series 4 transition, if you will.
Yeah.
Where players were saying, hey, I own the Kang variant, but I never unlocked Kang. Yet in my current store, it shows that Kang has been purchased, and it is a Series 5 card that I cannot unlock, and now I am complete, even though I don't have the base card. So that's intentionally being done. That's a preventative measure.
So the snap packs have that new smarter logic already built into them, so that they won't give you dupes. But we needed a little extra time because of the impact of retroactively awarding all these cards and stuff. So we built the feature to give you base cards, but the QA for it was a little hairy, especially adding it on top of all the other stuff that came out of this release. So we just pushed it out for the next release.
At least it will prevent the pull, because that would be an awful feeling to have hopefully I just don't pull it for the next 30 days or 40 or whatever it is until the next patch. I don't want to open any packs just in case, because I'm going to get the base variant. So I'm glad that's already implemented. That explains it, though, which is what I think most people wanted to understand is, it says I'm complete, but I'm not. So it's just preventing you from having that bad feeling of accidentally also pulling it when you didn't want to, because you were about to get it for free. So, okay, that makes a lot more sense.
And that, more than anything, was the kind of guiding principle for snap packs, is we want you to always get a card that you don't own anytime you acquire one, just because any other, experience, I think, would feel kind of crappy.
Okay. With the Series 4s also, because we just saw it, obviously this is a patch and the new season starts next week. But with the Series 4s that we discussed in the past video, just to confirm for the second time, again, with the Series 4s, because a lot of people were oddly confused on this, the majority of the Series 4s that will happen in a season will be released at the beginning of the season. Minus ones for, Sanctum Showdown, High Voltage, like the limited time game modes, right? So are the ones that we just got today, the 29th of April, I forgot the date for a minute, 29th of April, are those the ones that are for the next season and we just got them early? Or are we also going to be getting more cards in a week?
You will also get more cards. I could probably follow up and figure out how many more cards.
Gotcha. Just to understand the cycling of the Series 4s that are heading into the shop, because none of us expected 4 new cards today, as we talked about. So I didn't know if that was like, hey, we're just going to release these early, or here are extras, and then the next season starts and we have extras already going on in there too. So that's cool. Okay.
And the general idea with the general idea with these cards, which I think we touched on in the last conversation, is that if a card is in an event like a Sanctum Showdown or High Voltage, it will be exclusive to that event for the season in which that event runs. And then after that season ends, it will go to whatever pack it should go to. And so if it's a Series 4 card, it'll go in the next season into the Series 4 pack as a member of this, because if you look at the seasonal packs, they're all separated by season. So I don't know I could go through the exact lineage of these cards, but that's the general idea. And then you're right, every other card that's not tagged for special duty, like in a limited time game mode, that's a Series 4, goes directly into the seasonal Series 4 pack at the beginning of the season.
Gotcha. Okay. So then...
Yeah. And that's why, even though Snap Packs launched this morning, those cards weren't showing up, until the shop rollover that happens at noon Pacific. And that's when the season officially, or the week officially, rolls over. So even though there wasn't a season rollover today, it was the launch. So we, added those cards in.
Okay. So then when it comes to those Series 4s, right? Because I was able to get evidence from one of my community members. The idea of getting more than one card was incredibly exciting to a lot of people. But in the video, I was only able to showcase pulling a Series 3 card as a dupe, not a dupe, as a goodie in there, because there are no dupes. With that said, these Series 4 pieces, they can be goodies from other bundles. So like whatever the Series 5 card is of next week, I will be able to pull potentially some of the Series 4s, there is an opportunity chance to pull those out as a individual goodie, and potentially 2 of them, technically, correct?
Yep. And the way to think of it is that the goodies for seasonal packs pull cards that are in the seasonal pack pool, and the goodies for the collector's packs pull cards that are in the collector's pool, right? So if I buy a seasonal Series 5 pack and I get a free card, if it's a Series 3, obviously there are no seasonal Series 3 cards, so it'll just pull any Series 3.
Right.
But if it's a Series 4 or 5, it will pull it from a seasonal pack. And then if you're season complete on one of those, which might be your next question, you'll get a fallback reward in tokens. And that seemed like a fairer thing to do than to, like, say, have you fall back to the collector's packs, because there's a pricing difference in those packs, right? So
yeah,
we give you the value of the pricing for the seasonal packs when you buy from there. So if you wanted to just take those tokens and then go buy a collector's pack, you can. But technically, it's a little bit more value than, like, say, falling back to a collector's pack card.
Gotcha. Okay, so then, because I mean it kind of feeds into a little bit of, you know, some of the Series 5 questions, because there was one in particular I was trying to understand. So we can get to that as well. But I'm going to make one request just from, you know, personal experience, and I've already been asking for evidence of this from the community as well. In other games, we've seen like the different user interfaces where there's like a recap at the very end of it that shows, hey, I opened this card with this goodie and this goodie or whatever. Could this happen? Because I would love to, like, as the social media mind of me and thinking about sharing that screenshot of like, yo, I got a God pack, you know, quote unquote, that I got 2 cards in or 3 cards in. Like, I'd love to share that. Could that maybe make it in the future?
That's actually something we're looking at right now, and we'd love to get it in.
Yes. Awesome.
I've had the same, and I think a lot of people on the team have had the same experience. Our kind of default reward sequence is reward, 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 and it just doesn't feel as good when you're opening a pack. We even kind of debated whether to put the card that you get at the beginning or the end. We ended up with the card first, but I think you're right that it's not really about what order the card goes in. It's more about being able to get the things and then kind of see your haul, your total haul at the end, especially if, you know, if we do, you know, custom packs that maybe have more goodies in them or something like that in the future. Like, we just need a better reward sequence for that. So yes, and I know I also feel the urge to I got a god roll on a test build, and I was like, yeah, I got 2 Series 5 cards in a collector's pack, and I was pretty stoked. And then I couldn't show it. Like, you have to take a movie to show it to somebody. You have to have the movie running in ahead of time, and all. You know, it's not going to happen. So
yeah, pre-recording just in case. So and that's how I got evidence that, like, oh, it can actually happen. It's not just a chart. Like show me proof, because apparently everybody in my community is getting God packs, and I'm just sitting here like, I'm not, but that's fine.
That's not fun. Yeah.
But now that's good to know that that's being looked at for the future. Speaking of the future, looking a little further into the Series 5 pack of the world as well too. For those who haven't updated the game, just as a reminder, we know there was that kind of odd bridge announcement between the Spotlight variants that were coming out, and if they're watching this on playback or you're watching this live right now, basically, if I'm understanding it correctly, if you haven't updated, quote unquote, only, if you haven't updated, you still have the access to using Spotlight keys and getting the Spotlight variants that would have been for, I think, Madam Web and Aranya. That's only for 48 hours, so ending Thursday?
I think so.
Okay. Just to kind of understand, like, because I'm surprised how many people wanted those specific variants, but I can also understand now when they see that, hey, you're going to get 4 move cards. Maybe you really want Madam Web for the very first time and you want to guarantee it that way with your spotlights. So that's good. I just needed to confirm that one. And just because it's the most common conversation already happening in the live chat as well. It kind of feeds into the Series 5. So I'll address the small elephant in the room. We will be getting a future update that will release the free Series 5 pack that was announced in the blog. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's the plan. I think there's a small chance that the fix will take so long that we'd rather just give people tokens instead, so that people can have fun with launch week and buy some stuff and experience the feature.
Gotcha.
But our goal is definitely to try to get the pack out.
Yeah, of course. Understand being able to have the pack and send out the pack as the pack, like it's a unique item. So just in case, if at least there's the backup plan already in place of, okay, it might take too long, but we want to get it into your hands. Worst case scenario, you'll send, that's 4,000 tokens, I think, for the collector Series 5. So 4,000 tokens would go to everybody's account, same way. So, okay, good to know.
Yep.
It's coming out in the future. It's not going to happen on download.
You'll get it back.
Yeah. You're gonna get it, people. I promise. He promises. I don't. He does. He promises.
And I apologize. That wasn't ready to go. That was bummer.
Oh,
it was something that we sometimes you test things heavily.
Something happened. Oh no, world over. No, like it happened. It happens.
I hate live issues.
You guys, it's not like it was a big launch or anything. You know, things happen. So, you know, we try to be as patient as we can as a community. So at least it was communicated, and hopefully this might be how some people also get that communication too.
Patience.
In the world of Series 5, we've seen a lot more Series 5 and even in the Series 4, we've seen the bundles coming to the shop. One of the big ones with that base variant, with the retroactive of like getting the base variant, like how is that going to happen like soon in a secondary patch, or is that scheduled specifically for like, do you know when that's going to happen, projected about when we get those base variants retroactively? Because that's one that people are already commenting probably the most about, is the retroactive of when do I get the base variant, even if they already have a variant to mess with to play the card. They want to know, when does that go live? Do you have any projection on when that's supposed to go live?
Yep, that should go live in our next client update, which is on June 3rd.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, we kind of touched on that already, but that is the plan. And that, like I said, we already did the work for that, so it was just a QA matter. So I don't see any reason why it wouldn't go out on time there.
Okay, just wanted to check mark that one because it was an extra comment in here. I just was like, wait, let me get that one in there too. The fallbacks for if you are opening a pack and you are getting, you know, I've been playing the game since just after global launch. I've been Series 3 complete for a long time. You get a Series 3 card as a fallback. I know we talked about different values for different cards, but the Series 3 cards in particular, on certain packs, they're 650 in tokens, and certain packs are 850 in tokens. Can you talk a little bit about how the fallback process like came to be and where those values kind of like originated from?
Yeah, it's basically just that there's two different pricing tiers between the seasonal packs and the collector's packs, right? So the seasonal ones are more expensive, and I think technically, maybe we touched on it in the last interview if you want to get into the math. If you take a Series 5, it's 5/6 of the full single card cost.
Right.
So the Series 3 and Series 4 prices are also 5/6, and that's how you end up with 2,500 for Series 4 instead of 3,000, and 850 instead of 1,000 for I think we rounded up to get rid of this ugly stuff. But, yep. And then the collector's packs are 4/6 of the cost. So those prices are 4,000 for Series 5, 2,000 for Series 4, and 650 for Series 3.
That's why they go down.
So so those end up being the fallback rewards for the goodies. So again, if you buy a seasonal pack and get in your series complete, or your pack complete, and you get a fallback reward from the season, you'll get better token fallbacks than you will in the collector's packs. Just to, again, keep it fair.
Got it. Because I know a lot of people, like I've already seen screenshots of people getting the fallback in their Series 5 complete, and they get the 5,000 tokens. And then I see the complete opposite end of the spectrum as well with the different packs and their unlockings, and they're getting, okay, I got boosters and credits, all right, and I got a variant and credits, and I got 2 variants, and I got or 2 new cards, and I got, like, I shouldn't say variants, but like new cards, and I'm seeing all these different combinations. But I knew the Series 3 one was the one that I saw a couple of times in my own chats about, just confused as to why Series 3 was valued differently amongst Series 4 versus Series 5, because obviously the Series 4 cards are one thing and Series 5 are another, but Series 3 cards are always the same age.
Valued differently amongst collectors versus seasonal. That's the right way to think of it. Yeah.
Right. Okay. That's basically what I wanted to be able to get out of that, to help be able to explain it to the community as well too. That depending on what
more tokens per pack, you'll get a better fallback reward for any
bingo
goodie card that you get. Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, because the goodies are the fun part, you know, to me. Like the card, as someone who's been playing a long time, I love getting the card. I try to get the new card every week. You know, I have fun. I make content on the card. It's what my job is. But the other stuff that can then further supplement the rest of my collection, whether I'm developing something in Mastery or I'm trying to move up the collection track with upgrades, all of that's really interesting and important. How chaotic was it this morning with the launch of snap packs for you? Just like a behind the scenes type thing of like, okay, the day is here. You've been working on this for God knows how long. The day is here. How do you feel now that the day went from whatever it was to now being able to relax and have a conversation?
Yeah, look at me. I'm leaning back in my chair, so it's uncomfortable. You know, it's funny. Like, we've worked on this feature so long, and it's not. You know, I've heard friends who've worked on things like AAA titles, and they work on games for 5-10 years, which is crazy to me. That's unfathomable. But even working on a feature for a number of months, you kind of know what you're shipping, and we have a fantastic team that did a great job building the feature and testing it. So I felt pretty good about everything. We did have a couple issues. We had an issue where some people weren't able to open packs, and it seems like that's mostly resolved with the shop refresh. But we're still kind of tracking that down.
Okay.
That's the main one. So, there was a little bit of like, what? People can't open packs, and then immediately kind of double clicking on that and being like, okay, it's just in this one case. It's only some people. So that was probably the scariest moment. And then unfortunately we can get hot fixes out pretty quickly. So, we got a hot fix for the reward as well. So we're we're just, already even only a few hours into the day or halfway through the day, we've got kind of a working plan for like, are we going to put how many hot fixes in? And it depends on the urgency of things. If there's something really urgent, you kind of like fast track that one thing versus kind of batch up a couple things and maybe wait an extra day or two and get multiple things out. But so far, knock on wood, I haven't heard of any other major issues yet. So I wish we were perfect. I wish we completely 100% nailed it. So I apologize.
You're not perfect? What? No, but for real though, like it's comforting to see the overall community perception of this already in the first couple of hours, yet alone from the initial announcement. People are already like, wow, I just got so many more new cards. And I'm excited to see the next wave of people that come into Marvel Snap and see their experience of going in and only having this system to work with. If you've been here for a long time, you've seen the evolution of different currencies and economies, and the game is constantly evolving and changing. And now we're stepping into a new era of being able to say, we want you to have, and you said it yourself, we want you to have as many cards as possible. We want to get them into your hands as fast as possible so you can have meta relevant decks, and you can have diversity within your collection of not just different variants, but different cards to create those different decks as well. Because when there was 100 cards in the game, obviously it's one thing, but now there's 300 something now. Like this is, being able to fly these cards is huge for a lot of these new players. So I, as a creator, then can even have the conversation of, yes, you can make this deck by focusing on these snap packs. And that subset of sentence right there is incredibly huge that we haven't had to be able to communicate amongst friends, yet alone at our communities.
Yeah, a big part of what makes the game fun to come back to day after day, week after week, month after month is making new decks and playing around with new cards. We have, I think we're getting better at offering more events and things like that to do. And we've seen a great response around things like High Voltage and Sanctum Showdown. And we've got more stuff on the way. But ultimately, Snap's a card game. And, if you don't have, and, like, we could give all the cards away for free, right? So then we not have any money, and then we wouldn't be able to run the business. So finding the balance there, where like people can get enough cards to continue to make progress towards different, flavors of decks and different deck archetypes is super important. Otherwise, people will just get bored and go play something else. There's a lot of games out there.
Can you nudge somebody in the behind the scenes area of Second Dinner just to simply say, we need a Puppet Ben, Uncle Ben variant? Just on a personal note, because I'd love to see Puppet Ben make it into a card, just because, personal affinity. I thought that was absolutely fantastic. It was one of my favorites. But as we wrap up here, talking about, now the Snap Packs are officially here. They're live. This is your baby that you've been working on for a while now, to say the least. What's the ultimate thing you want people to take out of this, whether you're a brand new player, you're a seasoned veteran, or somewhere in between, now that people have access to it?
Well, I think, we kind of just wrapped on a really nice note there, where we want you to get more cards. We want you to play around with more different kinds of deck, more variety. We want the metagame to kind of stay vibrant and fresh, and have as many people participating in it as possible. So that's like the thing. But I think the other thing is, hey, now that this is out, let us know what you think about it. There's going to be, a lot of people at Second Dinner. Like, the reason that I enjoy talking to folks like you is, I'm curious to see what all the chat responses are. I'm looking at Discord, looking at Reddit. We may do surveys and things like that. Then obviously there's a lot of data around what people are actually buying and using in the game. So it's the fun part about working on a live service game is again, you're not, in a cave for 10 years and then you throw it over the wall like maybe an old school retail box game. So we really want to know what people like and dislike about the economy, the user experience, everything about the store, and that will go into our whole, consideration process for what we work on next.
Very, very cool. Matt, this has been round 2. So thank you.
Round 2.
Yeah, part 2. Ding, ding. And I think I'd like to think it was a knockout. So thank you. See what I did there? Hey. No, but seriously, thank you.
Gotta end on a dad pun.
You gotta, man. You absolutely gotta. But seriously, though, thank you. Thank you so much for taking the time to come be a part of this wrap-up conversation. I know that I see the questions in the chat. I think a lot of the questions in the chat have also kind of been integrated within these questions as well. Okay. And I'm going to make sure that this gets posted on the appropriate social medias, so that way, if there are even any further follow-up questions, we can get them to the right people. We can get them to people like you and be like, hey, question, inquiry, not just bug, but inquiry, idea. And, whenever the ItsGuestGaming creator pack wants to come on out, I'll nudge you to again too. So, but seriously, thank you. I really, really appreciate it. Yeah. And great job. This is what Snap honestly needed. So thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. Appreciate it. Appreciate everybody watching and listening, and looking forward to the bummer about talking is you can't follow along on the side conversation. So I'll have to catch up on that later.
Yes, it'll be its own little thing. I'll send you the link later on too.
Yeah.
So
awesome.
Thank you so much.
All right,
and you, sir.
Thank you.
Enjoy the rest of your day.
Take care. You too.